Yo, welcome back to the world. So am I crazy? Or in this recent update, did they quiet down the grass, like quiet down when you mine the grass block? Like dirt feels so much louder now. Like that's dirt, that's grass. Am I crazy? I feel like I'm going crazy because that feels like such a random thing to me. But anyways, hello. Yes, so as you can see, we are working on a sort of pathway to get closer to our main house that the more I look at it, the more I want to rework because I don't know what I was doing when I was building that house, but whatever. And while I'm here, I decided that I was going to kind of smooth out the pathway here because I was originally going to have this sort of rope bridge looking thing kind of slope up towards the hill, but then I realized you're just gonna go right back down again, so it made more sense to just mine this out. And it kind of reminds me of some places here in Texas where you'll kind of notice that they carved into some of the hills so that they could put in a road. I don't know why they did it at certain points, but there are times where it does kind of make sense, especially when the scale is smaller like this. But yeah, it's just funny that I'm incorporating something from Texas here. I do kind of want to retain some of that steepness because if you've ever seen what Hokkaido looks like in the winter, where they kind of have these snow walls along the road, it feels a little bit like that. It's not quite that steep. It's not like a 90-degree angle, but it gets kind of close. There is a bit of a slope. This actually represents it pretty well. I'm getting close. So I need cobblestone for a bit of decoration, and it's just now occurred to me that I mined out all of these areas without ever considering using a fortune pick instead of silk touch. So yeah, kind of regretting that right about now. So when people make a path through a hill, they have a tendency to sort of get rid of all of the stone faces, just make it look like the hill was never there to begin with. And because I'm kind of going for a carved out look anyways, I'm gonna actually try and lean into it and see if it works out. I have some andesite, cobblestone, and whatnot on me, but I have a feeling some of this palette may change or develop more as we go along. Just basically just to get the vibe right. I knew it. I'm not satisfied. I'm gonna try tough. I'm not certain about it though. I think I might need another one on top of this. So it was coarse dirt that I was thinking of. I was originally thinking basalt, like the top texture of basalt, but it ended up being a little too dark. Speaking of darkness, I saw this place from a distance and I realized, looks a little dark down there during the night, so I'm adding 1 or 2 lanterns in there, just so it doesn't look so drab, you know? Does this work? It's a little unconventional, but yeah, I'll take it. Well, that was a fun little side project. Unfortunately, that wasn't what I was originally planning to work on today. I've just generally been trying to plan out some things within the mud town. I got a little jolt of inspiration when the new 1.21.5 Flora came out, and I found it as a very good excuse to help spruce this place up because there are so many bits of Flora that would help this place a lot. Oh, that always scares me. I actually did update this a little bit. Originally, when I made the bamboo farm, crafters weren't out yet, but I've installed a crafter in now. Now it's a lot easier to manage. So yeah, now we have a very effective tool for making a lot of chests. Mostly just trying to work on the ground texture of our surrounding mud town for a bit before we start getting into the more of the floral sides of things. Basically, we're making a ground texture. Right now, I'm putting in a bunch of moss at the minute. I hate it when that happens. And then we're gonna try and smooth things out with birch leaves. I am gonna have to practice some precaution, making sure this area is not too green. I definitely need more going on in here. Oop. I liked how that looked with the birch leaf right there, but that's what I'm saving the spruce leaves for. In fact, I might be doing a combination of birch and spruce leaves now that I think about it for like the little shrubs. Because man, if you go to Louisiana, there are so many shrubs. A lot of this is just vibes for me, just like constantly vibe checking my build. That's essentially what I'm doing. Okay, maybe do a little bit more in this back area, and then I kind of want to get more into the actual flora and not so much just the ground texture. I am excited to try this little prospect out, partially because it's like some of it is using blocks that I haven't had the chance to use before because, you know, it came with 1.21.5. Now we're at a more exciting part where we start giving dimension to our floor. Just figured that would be a kind of a natural spot where one shrub would be. But there's also going to be like some random spots throughout. I should probably do like a... It's going to be hard for me to keep track of like what's birch and what's... But yeah, like a kind of shrub-like areas like this. I'm going to be trying to keep it in patches though. I'm not going to try and get too crazy. Just so I can ensure that I can still move around the place. But I remember one time when we were we were driving down. So this was after school, right? So my mom had to pick me up after that, and so we kind of got a bit of a late start. And if you've ever driven out of Texas before, you'll realize its scale. And what I mean by that is that it basically takes an entire day just to get out of Texas, of just straight driving. It's kind of weird. At one point, you do start noticing more swampy bits that is more typical of Louisiana. Once you start getting into the eastern part, but once we got to that point, it had already gotten really dark. It kind of started getting to that point where we were getting onto roads that deer would inhabit, or at least be close to. So the problem arose of us just kind of looking out for deer, and we were both getting pretty tired, my mom and I. So my mom asked if I could like keep on the eye on the road with her. So I did. But that was probably one of the more nerve-wracking drives I've ever had. What? Why did that? Huh? Wait, how were these here then? Now I'm confused. Oh, the firefly bushes. Forgot about that. I'm not going to play with the wildflowers just yet. There's so much good stuff in this update. I want to use it all. Okay, let's just focus one thing at a time. Let's do leaf litter. I'm quite excited to work with these. If you couldn't tell, actually, I'm gonna put in a couple right here. This is my first time I like properly using leaf litter. I am excited. I can already tell. I'm just gonna fall in love with these. Are you kidding? I love anything like fall aesthetic. So this is just... I'm gonna be late with these in this area specifically, but like already... it's small, don't get me wrong, but there's just adds just that little bit more. The weird part about this boardwalk is that I had to kind of go for thin like blocks that have close to the same color, which unfortunately didn't give me a whole lot of variation to work with at the time. But the leaf litter might help a lot with that, actually. I mean, it flows into here. In fact, like from a distance, it kind of looks like a indentation rather than a leaf, which definitely works. This is meant to be rickety. Oh, this is so good. Oh, I know I'm getting excited over leaves, but man, I did not expect to like this as much as I am right now. This is like exactly what this boardwalk needed. I'm so glad these are easy to make. I think for the rest of this segment of the stream, I'm gonna focus on this little ring specifically. The thing is, I'm in the back of my head, I'm being like a little worried about like overdoing it. I think I might have done it right there, but like it's so subtle. That's kind of hard to. What about down here? Ooh. Yes, please. The part that I've been really excited about, the tall grass, or rather the... I think we're going to do this in tandem with the mushrooms. Because I already have them over there. Okay, I'm going to need to also bone meal this a bit. I don't think we're going to need too much of this stuff, but I've been wanting like a good... like transitionary wheat flora for a long time, and this is literally that. It's a bit deserty looking, but I think I can look past that. Yeah, I saw that you could put these on farmland. That's interesting. Maybe put one in here for like a bit of variation. It makes it look very messy, which I'm a fan. And big. Small. Big. Small. I think that's satisfactory enough for me. And we'll move on to the mushrooms. That's a fun pop of color, isn't it? It's not quite Louisiana feeling, but I am not opposed to taking a couple creative liberties. Bushes. Definitely have some of these. Especially nearby some of the more like leafy areas. So the firefly bushes are definitely gonna be able to like... I might actually just place them how you would see them in survival, like nearby the water, because I mean they kind of go along the wheat decently. Dude. Oh, dude. That really completes it. I'm like a kid again. Holy smokes. It's like I'm a kid going into Louisiana for the first time. So, weird thing, I was trying to enchant a max fishing rod, and I found that I got, like, luck of the sea too. It's like, okay, I think I just want to reset the roll, so I was going to go for the level 1 here. It doesn't have any sort of enchantment thing, and it's just, like, I can't click on it. Does anyone know what this is? I've never experienced this, but I guess I'll go for this one. So I have expanded from this area over here, and I've tried to make it work in the entire biome. Now, obviously, I haven't put the wheat everywhere. That's kind of the special feature right here, though I did include some of the dried grass. Very choice places, though, just because it does stand out a lot, and you don't want to have too much. But yeah, as you can see, we also got a bunch of the firefly bushes, and I just generally tried to make everything busy, go layer by layer, adding, basically taking one plant, doing a pass over the entire place, then taking another plant, and then taking another pass. I think by the time I got to the firefly bush, though, I kind of stood back here and I realized, yeah, no, this area isn't just going to work with just some bushes. I think that there's like a very obvious box you start to see where a structure needs to be made. but I'm going to work on that later. I already have a structure over there that I haven't really touched. I will get to that at some point. All the plant life just does so much for the area. This all used to just be mud and maybe some sugarcane and bamboo. And by the way, I did end up thinning out the bamboo over here just so you could see some gaps into the sky and gives the other plants a little bit of room to breathe. And you might be able to recognize from this angle over here, I also kind of shortened down the sugarcane a little bit more, just to, again, give everything else some breathing room, frame everything a little bit better, because this is a very green, so I just wanted to not be too distracting. Oh, and I made myself a little fishing rod. Hey, come over here, be my fishing friend. And, it could be a dying friend as well. But, yeah, I just kind of felt like I wanted to fish around here. Just chillax. I don't think I'm going to get any treasures from this. But, oh well. It's still a cool fishing spot. Over here, I did manage to finish that bridge. I was already starting to get a bit tired of looking at those leaves. But I actually ended up referencing a picture of a medieval bridge because I with this village, I always kind of imagine it being kind of just thrown together, scrapped together, which that's what medieval stuff sometimes kind of looks like. So I kind of went for an all wooden bridge with like cross supports and all of that. And obviously it's still rickety here. You have the leaves, the buttons. It still very much has that style, but it's still very functional. That being said, there is a lot in the water that we don't really have much decoration for. I mean, I did a little bit of bone mealing under the water here, which is nice, and I actually did add a little bit of moss on top of the water. If I can like show this off real quick, essentially if you place a carpet on the side, like on a solid block, and then start building up from there, you can actually have these over water a bit. So yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a nice stand-in for like a build-up of moss, which is what you tend to see in some of these more swampy areas. But that being said, I do need to work on some cattails using some green stained glass and candles, and also some lily pads. I apparently don't have a single lily pad to my name, so we're gonna have to do a search for that one. So I know there is a mangrove swamp right by my little desert dig area. So I'm hoping, oh man, now I'm kind of wishing that I made the swamp area in these kinds of waters, because the watercolor is just immaculate. But oh well, I can always work with like maybe some stained glass, like cyan stained glass, something like that, to input a little bit. But I'm gonna see how many of these I have the patience to gather. Oh, I didn't realize this before, but you have a really fun, like, swampy fog when you go underneath. That's cool. This reminds me a little bit. When I was a kid, we had this family friend named Jerry. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but when he was still alive, we used to go over to his place. You know, we would sometimes do, some chores to help him around the ranch, especially during the 3 different times he had cancer. And we would try and, feed his horses, take care of the gardens, and so on and so forth. And towards the end of all of that, we would go over to a little creek that they had made. And it would have all of this fresh water. It was basically the only, like, stream of water you can find in my area of Texas. Like, we're not, like, in a super drought or anything, but you don't actively see bodies of water around here. So it was just kind of cool to see. and we would go swimming in it. It was a deep creek as well. So it was kind of fun to dive a little bit. Granted, you know, when when we got old enough to actually dive and have our parents not be afraid of us drowning, but man, it was just cool, and I don't know. I used to, you know, be able to keep my eyes open underwater, which I don't know if that was particularly healthy for me or not, but this kind of reminds me of that, yeah. One thing that I hope they really change in Minecraft, okay, so there's a bunch of plants, a bunch of them I have been working with very, very recently, as you could probably tell, where you can just kind of bone meal them and multiply them. Unfortunately, I don't have any bones with me, but unfortunately with lily pads, you can't really do that. I don't really understand why. Like, we have all these plants that we can multiply quite easily now. Why not this, you know? Alright, so I got another batch of Flora to put into more of the rivers. There's one thing that I want to try with the cactus flowers, see if this works. So something kind of similar to the moss, like maybe put it right here. Does this work? Oh, it does. I like, okay. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. We're doing that. I'll be honest, I don't actually remember anything like this being in Louisiana, but I have seen it in like parks or something, or like other photos, and I mean, you have to admit it's pretty cute. I mean, come on. Wow, that does so much for the color. It makes this place feel a lot more like an oasis, you know? That being said, now I think I'm in between doing the lily pads or the cattails. I think I'll do the cattails. Sure, why not? This is my first time messing with these. I actually learned this from Aureus Keiko, who had this in one of her builds, and it looked really, really cute, and it's another really nice detail to put in here, and already it adds a lot of character with just that one. Now, I need to remember that cattails don't only go in the water, they're actually besides the water as well. They're not constantly drowning. And yes, before you ask, if a creeper does blow this up, I will cry. I decided to take a little break from the water. I'm going to be doing a little bit of dead bush and drip leaf. The drip leaf, I have a feeling might end up being a little too much, but I mean, right here it's not too bad. Maybe if I put it next to stuff that's already going to be tall, maybe it won't be too bad. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why there are so many random dead plants in Louisiana, you know, because you'd think they get plenty of water compared to Texas, at least. Is it like too much water, or is it like too hot? Because it is very hot and humid there, so I don't know. As you might be able to see, I keep accidentally stepping on the wheat as I've been trying to put around the plants. And it just, I wish there was a way of, you know, making it so that wheat can't have that happen, because it's always been an annoyance for me. And I mean, back in, what was it, alpha, beta, there was actually a way of keeping that from happening. If you put fences underneath the farmland, it would actually stay safe. It wouldn't get trampled, which I kind of wish that was still a thing, you know? In terms of the flora, I think that just about does it, at least for now. I might think of something random later, who knows? But at this point, I should probably start working on some of the buildings. I mentioned a building over on that side, and I still have to do the building all the way to the right here that I kind of started at the beginning of the episode, but I haven't really done with since. So yeah, I should probably work on that now. I think I've been trying to figure out this gradient. I think I'm gonna reintroduce the strip dark oak wood up here, and then I'm gonna hopefully do another hay bale sort roof again. I don't know what to do about the flooring though. So I've been working on this building for a bit. As you can see, I've worked on the walls. The walls are complete now. I have a basic idea of what I want for the roofs. This part still needs to be finished. I originally was going to have a 45-degree angle for the roof, but I was like, that's not quite the height that I want, not quite the pitch. So I edited it a little bit. Now I need to stretch the wall so that it fits with that. But more interestingly, I've gone for a different color palette for the roof. It's definitely a gutsy style. It's very bold with its colors, but I'm basically thinking, you know, bright yellow. I'm thinking that the sun is like over in the distance there, and you can like see the sun kind of refracting off the hay, and it gets a little bit darker the more this way you go. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna YOLO it. If it doesn't work, oh well. Because I think it's a fun idea, and I mean, if it's fun, I'm just gonna keep it. There we go. So I'm gonna do this side a little bit differently. On this one, I just kind of winged it, where I kind of guesstimated. And this time I'm gonna see if I can like shape out the shading first before like going into the dithering, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. Okay, we go from bamboo wood to hay to acacia wood to mangrove wood to crimson wood. It's interesting, that's for sure. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna dither this while keeping its shape. A lot of this is just me feeling it out. So I'm feeling this should be hay. Yeah, not very precise, but you know what? That's what I'm gonna go with. Microsoft, we need to have a little bit of a talk, because every single time you force me to update, the microphone on my OBS settings just goes to default for whatever reason. And that resulted in half of my recordings for the past day not really working properly because it wasn't picking up my mic. But just in case, I'm going to be covering basically everything. So on the roof, you could basically see that I went for this sort of highlight of the hay to the darkness towards the end here. I think it's a pretty good look, especially now that I've had a day to sort of sit on it. And I'm aware that it doesn't really fit the style of everything else here, but personally, to me, it would be a bit boring if everything was just the same over and over and over again, just from a building perspective. So yeah, I'm doing this one with the gradient. Who knows, maybe the next building will also be completely different. But yeah, I also did this on the sides as well, just to give it some more dimension, I suppose. And I mean, I noticed walking in on my way here that wall or that area just looked a bit boring. So I decided to have another little extension over there. And yeah, it came out quite nice. I gave the roof a little bit of a curve just to make it look a little more interesting, and also to reference some tiki houses that I saw in images. There was one where the roof kind of had this curve to it. I still kept going with the shadowing or I guess the lighting, and my general idea was that the sun was coming from that general direction. So that side is pretty bright. Meanwhile, this side is significantly darker. And I started to get some certain colors out of this that I wasn't quite expecting, and it kind of resulted in me feeling like this is some sort of hen house. So in here, originally there were two chicken jockeys riding on these things, but I ended up flying away for a bit. And originally I thought if you had a mob on a lead, it would keep them from despawning, but I don't think that's quite the case, because only the one that happened to be holding an item at the time stayed. So that's a little unfortunate, and this guy picked up my lead, and that's even more unfortunate. But we're starting to get some storage in here, And that's about it at the minute. I do want to get some more hens for this hen house. I want to make them taller here, though. They were kind of hanging right here, and didn't quite feel right. I want to see if I can like move them to up there, see if it would work out better. I suppose I could talk about this unconventional door. So I was standing back here, and I didn't really know what color to make the doors. Originally, I was thinking like dark oak, but stylistically, I don't know, it didn't quite fit for me. So I started experimenting with some of the colors that were also present on the roof. So I started with the crimson doors, and I was like, okay, that's kind of neat, but it looks a little flat compared to everything else that's here. So I put an acacia door. That didn't quite look right either. I put a mangrove door. I was like, okay, that's closer. And then I decided, you know what? I might as well kind of replicate the gradient here and have a jungle trapdoor here. And does it make it less functional? Yes, but you have to admit, it does make it look a lot better than what it would have been, because it just matches that roof so much better. And funny enough, that trapdoor adds a little bit of dimension. Now, for the hole in the side of the building here, I got that idea from two things. Firstly, I wanted to be able to fly in and out of here with ease, which I'm surprisingly doing with not too much difficulty, considering all the fences and whatnot I decided to put in there just to make it look a little more rustic or what have you, just to fit in with everything else that's here. But also, I saw a little reference image where the buildings kind of had like little holes or windows on this top side. It also kind of reminded me of some barns. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go ahead and add a little hole here. I'm not entirely certain if I will do the same over here. We shall see. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. But before I go, we have the comment of the day from episode 13 by Nothing at All Bud. Dude, great video. By the way, do you play any Bed Wars? First of all, thank you. I'm not the best at taking compliments, but I definitely appreciate the thought. But no, not in recent times. I used to play Bed Wars and Hypixel in general quite a lot when it first came out, and especially when it became a bit more popular. But I just kind of found myself constantly getting frustrated with the game every single time I played. So I don't know. I guess it just has something to do with, you know, how people would kind of rush your beds, or how TNT would be just that little bit overpowered. I feel like at the time that I was playing, there was still a lot of balancing to be done at the time. Because, you know, you have to make sure that even if your players aren't like horribly skilled, that they can still participate and have fun. Maybe not win per se, but, you know, that they can still enjoy themselves while they coexist with some of the better players in the game. And I think that is a problem with a lot of multiplayer servers at that time. Especially when it comes to survival games or Sky Wars, is that sometimes they would listen to some of their more competitive players more than their casual players. And I just think that's overall a bad strategy. You should probably try to do a mix of the two. Man, this rod is really fast. But overall, yeah, that's why I didn't really play. That's why I stopped Bed Wars per se. They might have improved it by now. It's been such a long time since I've actively played it, so that very well could be the case. The last like minigame server that I've really played on was MCC Island, and that was only like once or twice. I guess just nowadays I'm more intrigued by just playing survival Minecraft, and maybe occasionally some creative, where I just kind of get to figure out my own creative endeavors and yeah, I guess I just like to sit with that for now. But I have been slowly getting back into some PvP aspects. Every once in a while, I'll try to de-rust on hoplite, just so that I'm not completely washed up if PvP is ever necessary. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for the comment. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.